Hi, everybody. We are on the road in Buffalo's Old First Ward. I'm Kelsey Anderson.
And I'm Dave Graber.
We are joining these two folks here with TENfold Gallery. This is an awesome new space in Buffalo's Old First Ward, and they actually don't just have a space with an art gallery, but they have completely put beautiful art all over this renovated building. We have Emily Tucker and Chris Kamek with us. Emily, can you explain what building we are in? We're on Louisiana Street.
Yeah, sure. So inside the Barklow Living and Commerce building, we've curated a city block long gallery featuring 25 different artists and arts organizations because we want to uplift our peers as well and share the good work that's happening across our entire arts ecosystem.
Absolutely cool. Are these artists all from, say, Western New York, a particular region, or are these people from all over the country?
So in the connector space in the hallway, we're featuring regional artists. So
Nice.
in and around Western New York, that's really important to us. We want our community to know how many talented people are living and working right here.
It's amazing.
Very cool. So this is the Buffalo City block
Yeah.
that you were talking about. Let's go through it, and then we will end at the gallery that is opening very soon here in Buffalo. Let's talk about some of these artists as we walk by them. What are we seeing as we go through? Also, it's not just the gallery that's here. There's a ton of other things here. We'll point them out as we walk by. So you'll want to visit for the cafe, for other things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So in these hallways and in these spaces, we're showing regional artists' work like Kyle Butler, and we're featuring arts organizations like Eat Off Art that do amazing programming, workshops, murals across the city. And we want to put the faces and names of our peers and our colleagues and the artists we work with on the wall so that people can see who they are and understand that they're living right here in our community. And by coming and supporting them and buying their work, you're supporting your community, and it's all coming right back to you in a way.
Are these things for sale?
Everything is for sale,
Wow.
and we are a nonprofit, so every purchase you make gets reinvested into free community arts programming, workshops, artist talks, and events like we're going to have on February 27th, which is our grand opening of the brand new standalone space that we also have in this building.
This space is super, super impressive. Chris, before we started, you kind of talked about this being like a living, kind of breathing building in and of itself. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how it kind of adapts and how you guys work with TENfold to kind of fold that in to the existence?
So there's over 140 apartments in this building in 5 different sections, and then over 5 to 7 different companies. So what we're trying to do through this space is really connect everybody together while using the art corridor or connector space to do that. And through that, I've also curated certain artists that were in this building prior to the renovation. So making that connectivity to what was before and what's happening now is really important to me.
And there are pets allowed, I guess,
There
in
are
this
pets
building.
allowed in this building. Sorry
So if
about
you hear
the-
a dog
the
barking,
dog
that's
here.
that's why.
And that's
yeah.
Sammy. He's adorable.
Oh, Sammy is someone you know.
Yes. I know all the dogs and a lot of the families that have been living in the building. So making that connectivity to bring them out to our other opportunities outside of TENfold, because we also do pop-ups throughout the city,
Yeah.
which is really important, which we have one currently up on Chandler Street. And then we also have another gallery in Shea Seneca building, which is over in South Buffalo on Casanova, which we actually have an artist talk tonight with 2 artists, Mark Laventelli and MJ Myers.
Nice.
All right, very good.
cool.
As we continue on, what are some of the other businesses that are here? We're seeing Oak and Iron, we're seeing Cav, and then one of my favorite places, Seven's Cafe and Bakery.
Yeah, if you live here, you really don't have to leave the building, I'm realizing, because I get my hair done at Oak and Iron. You can work out at Pace Studio. You can get coffee at Seven's. They also have incredible food. I am not vegan, but I am converted.
Yeah.
And then there's an amazing brewery, Frequentum, at the end. So when we have an opening and our doors closed, we can go down the hallway and keep the party going at Frequentum, which we're super excited
So
about.
fantastic. I will say Buffalo has done such a good job with repurposing these buildings. I know that it is an essential thing because the city can't afford and local companies can't afford to just knock these things down and rebuild them. Plus, you get to take advantage of the incredible history that is a part of this. I cannot get it. I mean, just feeling the walls and like seeing the old scuff marks and all of this is sort of part of the kind of urban artistic vibe that I think is really, really taken hold, especially around different places in Buffalo and even in other, some of these kind of Rust Belt cities, right? They're re-emerging and their art is kind of showing that too, right? As we walk in here to your guys' gallery.
It's repurposing the industrial buildings and seeing the authenticity of what they mean and the people that also worked in these buildings prior.
Yeah.
Over in the park across the street, there was a basin where boats used to undock their goods into this building. And knowing that history and that part of what the Old First Ward means and the hardworking people of Buffalo, and it's really important. So bringing art and community to a building like this is, as a resident of the Old First Ward, is really important. I used to teach over at the community center, did murals with the kids within the community. So to be able to bring this level to this neighborhood is really important. And me and Emily are really working hard to do that.
You guys are, and the work is showing. Please know that your work is making a difference, because this is very impressive.
This is very cool. We didn't showcase all of what
just
we
a
just
portion,
walked
right.
through, by the way. It's not just paintings on the wall. There were different things hanging from ceilings and whatnot. So art can take so many different forms. It can also be sculpture. What are we looking at right now, Emily?
So in our upcoming exhibition, we're featuring two artists, DJ Carr, who is from Buffalo, and Juan Bordez, who is from Gran Canaria, Spain. And the exhibition is more than just the artwork. It's about taking risks and artistic people meeting across different times in their artistic career. And it's really fascinating, and I feel like people should come learn more about it, but it's definitely multimedia. There's going to be video. We're making a documentary about this.
Nice.
There's regional artist work, and then there's work that's been collected from all over to come here and be shown.
This sculptor is 80 years old.
Yes, he's in his 80s. I think he's probably 84.
Wow.
We've been working with him and his family across the globe to get all the information we need, because all of these pieces have been shown in museums in Spain and across Europe.
Wow.
So we're getting the provenance and all the information to bring it here to Buffalo.
What exactly is it? I mean, I touched a piece that was over there that you could tell it's like some kind of a plastic or some kind of a molding.
Are you
What is
supposed to
this
be touching
artistry?
this?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
In general, no, but
this
Dan did, so I did.
This is thermoplastic. So
Thermoplastic.
Yeah, so it's a heatable plastic that he uses a torch and molds it. And the piece that you actually touched is so you can see the inside of the structure itself. So what he does is create an armature and then overlay the details over the armature.
Got it.
They look extremely heavy, but weirdly very light. These bronze sculptures that are on the table are unliftable by one person.
Just one of them.
Yeah, one person
Really?
can't lift one of those. So it really shows scale and use of materials too by one artist. And we'll also be showing some of his drawings that are sketches that lead into these amazing pieces that you see.
The heads over there. Is there an explanation? I know this is like maybe a faux pas for me to like question what all this stuff is, but I am curious. Like, what does it mean? What is that over there?
Well, that's for you to figure out. I think at times, I think the viewer themselves has all their life experiences that they have when they view art to then make that connection to it. And then you can read the artist's statement of why they made the work, but you really need to feel the work yourself.
Internalize it almost.
Internalize
Very
it
good.
yourself and then see, and that allows you to go back home later and think deeper about the work that you see.
Good point.
This guy could be slipping on ice. He looks a little sad. This is me this winter.
Sad that you're slipping on ice.
I want to ask you about yourselves. You know, we have so much wonderful art here in the city of Buffalo, and I'm so happy to see even the addition of more. Why did you want to start this, come to this space specifically, Emily and Chris?
So what we want to do, and we have this amazing arts community, and we have great people who come to our exhibitions religiously, and they care about the artists and they know about them. There is so many people who don't have this experience. They maybe go to the AKG once, they go to the Allentown Art Festival, but they're missing all of this amazing stuff in between. There's commercial galleries, there's nonprofits like ourselves that just don't get the visitors that we should. And by taking art sort of out into the hallway and in these other places where we do pop-ups, we're engaging people. We hope that our visitors will be the tenants living upstairs who maybe have never been to an art gallery before. So for us, this is a perfect location. And I have to say, the developers of the building are so supportive. They're big sponsors of our nonprofit and
Nice.
how we're able to do this. So it's really great.
That feels pretty good. Anything to add, Chris?
I think Emily
Great.
said it all.
It just sounds like not only are you guys doing great work, but it's being supported by the community, whether it's the residents here, the residents on the outside, the people who own this building. And that's great to hear that you guys are getting so much support.
It means a lot. overwhelming at times of when I think about it. From what I was doing public art-wise and doing murals all over the city and engaging communities to now being able to do that on a larger base and connect people. And like Emily said, bringing people to a gallery that feel intimidated and afraid to try to talk to an artist about what their work means. Artists really want that connection. They want to be able to tell people why they are making their work.
All right, we have to wrap this up, but this is at 225 Louisiana Street. If you want to come check this out, TENfold. There's also a great cafe if you want to work out. A lot going on in this building. When do you guys open?
We open to the public on Friday, February 27th from 6 to 9 p.m. That is our big grand opening. We'll have some food from Sevens. We'll have drinks. Nice. It'll be celebratory and fun, and I hope everyone comes.
All right, thank you both.
The entrances that we have been talking about, is it better for the public when you guys open to come in on this side or on the front side?
Both entrances will be open. Obviously, O'Connell Street is closer to the gallery, but both are open.
All right, we will be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are back in studio now. Coming up at the end of this month is a really important conference. And if you've been with us here at Channel 4 for a little while, for the past couple of years, this is a conference that we have highlighted because, one, it is important for the community to be aware, and two, there are many instances in Western New York of the very topic that we are going to cover with this segment happening here. This is reality, and we have organizations that deal with it. I want to bring in some folks from the Alzheimer's Association, our Western New York chapter. I am a member of the board of directors of that chapter, and these are a couple of our wonderful staffers who are here with us. If you could, Jessica and Andrea, please tell us your name and then your title with our chapter.
Hi, so my name is Jessica Mesquita, and I am a program manager with the Alzheimer's Association of Western New York.
Perfect.
And I'm Andrea Cook. I'm the Director of Community Engagement here at the chapter.
Excellent. Two incredible staffers. We are very lucky to have a very active chapter. And among the activities is this big conference coming up on February 28th. And it is specifically for Black and Brown communities. Why? Well, because Alzheimer's and other dementias affect Black and Brown communities almost, if not more, than twice the amount as the rest of our population in this country. And so this is a topic that is widespread and one that hits close to home. So guys, let's talk about this conference. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you, ladies.
This one is happening at the end of this month. Just kind of give us the generalities for why this is important. We'll get into some of those facts and figures.
Yeah, so this is the 6th year, and we will be hosting it at BFNC on Main and Leroy. This year, it will be a brain health conference, but it will also be a resource fair. So we'll have vendors like the Buffalo Center for Health Equity there, the Office for Health Equity, Buffalo Go Green, Buffalo Black Nurses Inc., amongst many other vendors that will be sharing resources about cardiovascular disease, so Heart Health Month, and giving some more tips and wellness screenings, like blood pressure screenings as well.
Nice.
And how does heart health connect to dementia and Alzheimer's?
Nice.
Yeah, so heart health and brain health are really closely connected. We know that with every single heartbeat, 25% of the blood goes directly to the brain. So considering how much real estate the heart has to cover, that's a lot to send to one particular place. So if our hearts are not performing well, our brains are suffering as well. And in the last year, there's been some really exciting research showing that the same techniques that we know about that are important for heart health can also reduce one's risk for having cognitive decline later in life as well. Wow. Things like diet, exercise, health monitoring, making sure that things like blood sugar, blood pressure, things like that are in check, and making sure that if you have anything kind of out of whack, like blood pressure, diabetes, things like that, keeping a close eye on that and treating that is good for your brain as well.
And it also is a really good way to approach this disease. I mean, just in our interactions, of course, over the past several years, we know that this is a scary disease. It's terrifying because there's so little known about it and there's so little you can do to actually prevent the full onset. But what we're talking about now there are some preventative things you can do. There are steps you can take to make your heart healthy right now. You know, your next move could make your heart healthy. So we are talking about, in this way, kind of a preventative approach to this disease by looking at other areas of the body that are impacted, right? I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah, there's some new research that suggests that up to 40% of cases of Alzheimer's and dementia can potentially be prevented just by using these simple lifestyle factors.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Now-
huge.
Now, I say simple, but simple doesn't mean easy,
That's
right? Simple meaning, okay, we know how to do this, but actually putting these steps in place, diet, exercise, those sorts of things, that's easier said than done, right? No one really wants to take that on if it's not part of their typical habits.
Yeah, and if I could just share a little bit more, culturally speaking, a lot of us that are in our brown and black communities, we don't often think or consider that we could eat healthier. So we do have access to healthier nutritional meals and foods and seasonings. However, sometimes with cultures, it's hard to break from those traditional, wholesome, lovely meals, right? But there's always that possibility that we can afford healthier cooking and healthier meals by connecting with like dietitians or nutritionists to lower like blood pressure, you know? So those are some other things that I think it's important to bring up and highlight, especially with Black History Month, is that adding and incorporating those healthier options and those healthier decision-making skills and starting younger within our families can also teach the younger generation of how to adapt those healthier habits, right?
Great.
Can I mention real
Please.
quick?
Go ahead.
So we just secured this, and I'm very excited about it. But the UB School of Nutrition is going to be at our resource fair. So great group of folks to talk to. And the exciting thing is they're bringing something called a smoothie bike. So you get to pick out
seen
your
this.
ingredients, and there's a blender attached to the bike.
Nice.
And then you hop on the bike and you ride the bike to actually mix up your smoothie.
Make your smoothie.
cool.
Yep.
I like that.
Very
Very
cool.
nice. A huge part of culture is clearly, obviously, the food, and we're not saying don't eat the food that is, you know, part of your culture, right? But you can swap some things out type thing to improve that diet. All right, let's talk about these racial disparities in the diagnosis of Alzheimer's and dementias, in the caregiving, even in the research. The research is showing us that the Black community, they're twice as likely to get Alzheimer's than white Americans. Why have you seen that? Why is that?
A lot of racial inequities, historically speaking, systemically, discrimination, a lot of those play a big factor in that, and also late diagnosing. So if early diagnosing and early treatment and prevention happens, then individuals can have access to health care and they stay on treatment. But unfortunately, that's not the case with Black Americans. And we definitely want to see that improved.
Jessica is a part of the problem, particularly with Black Americans and or other brown communities as well. A lack of trust or faith in the medical system. And the reason I that comes to mind is because you talk about a late diagnosis. It's almost like if you had more faith in the system, maybe, and you trusted it, you would be going to the doctor sooner, and maybe you'd be able to see or catch these problems sooner, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I could share a little bit of my personal experience. So my grandmother, who's now in heaven and has passed, her name is Yolanda Amezquita, and she actually suffered from heart conditions. And so this conference this year speaks a little bit personally to me because we're not only focusing on brain health, but also heart health. And that mistrust is huge, because if you don't connect with your provider that maybe doesn't speak your language or doesn't look like you, then you may not share as much information about your health and some of the things that are coming up, whether that's pain, or whether that's discomfort, whether that's memory or concentration issues. Those conversations won't come up if you don't naturally feel comfortable with your provider. But also if your provider doesn't ask those questions. It's the provider's job really to follow up with their client, their family members if they go to an appointment with a caregiver, and share those follow up steps. It's huge. It's not enough to just provide a diagnosis. Individuals need follow up steps.
Yeah.
Now that I have this diagnosis, what do I do
What do I
next?
do?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then delaying a diagnosis for heart health, which could lead to this, or just Alzheimer's, dementia in general. Can you explain how that can really put a person behind? Either one of you.
Yeah, so there are some new treatments that are available for Alzheimer's disease that are really exciting because they can actually slow the progression of the disease, help a person stay in the early stage longer. But those medications are only available to folks who are in the early stage, just starting to develop symptoms when they're diagnosed. Unfortunately, these medications, they were originally tested on folks who were in the middle stage of the disease to see how they could be helpful, and all of those trials failed.
Yep.
It wasn't until they kind of moved it back and started testing it on people who were earlier on that they saw a real impact. So it's really important to get to the doctor as soon as someone starts noticing changes in themselves or a loved one in order to have these options, right? In order to be able to have the opportunity to take advantage of these treatments, because so often I think we have a tendency to not want to deal with it, right? Delay, I'm going to wait, maybe it's nothing. And if we do that, sometimes it's too late to take advantage of these things once we do get a diagnosis.
This is why I think it's really important and why we are really lucky that we have access to the Alzheimer's Association here in Western New York. Tell me about some of those early signs that people should notice. And then this is another really good one. And folks, please, if you missed this or if you want something hard and fast, like a piece of paper or a website, go to the Alzheimer's Association Western New York chapter. This is all here. What are some of those early signs? And what if you are going yourself, or if you're going with like a loved one or a caregiver, what questions should you start to ask? Just again, those early onset.
Yeah, so I think with Alzheimer's disease in particular, the first thing that we start to see are memory changes. And this is tricky, right? Because being forgetful is part of the human condition.
Right.
Even kids are forgetful, right? So with Alzheimer's disease, what we notice in particular is loss of short-term memory. Recent events are not being remembered. Forgetting your password when you just reset it, that's normal type of stuff, right? But if the person is forgetting things that just recently happened, that can potentially be cause for concern. And it's a good idea to get to the doctor because it could be a number of things, not Alzheimer's disease. It could be a vitamin deficiency, sleep issues, undiagnosed sleep apnea, nutritional problems. So good idea to start there. Also, we tend to see people struggling to find their words. This can also come with stress and loss of sleep as well, right? So it's tricky, but I think that those are some of the things that we see early. Also, changes in behavior, maybe a person acting in uncharacteristic ways, doing things that it just doesn't seem like them, being more impulsive, more quick to anger potentially, or not caring about something that you know is meaningful to them. Maybe it was a person who always sent a birthday card to everyone, and suddenly those cards aren't coming anymore, and it seems to be slipping their mind. So changes in that person's personality can also be a big indicator.
Hugely important.
Yeah, I'll also share to like driving, like driving to familiar places, daily activities that you do every day. Maybe it's meeting up with your buddies or hanging out with a loved one, and you have this set appointment every day or once a month, and for some reason you just start forgetting about it. So daily activities like that can also be a hindrance to the possibility of you having Alzheimer's or dementia.
I appreciate you saying it could be other things too.
Right.
We're not trying to
Right.
freak
We're not
anybody
trying to
out
freak anybody
here.
out,
Just trying to keep you aware because it could be a variety of issues as easy as a vitamin deficiency. I think we're all vitamin D deficient right now. Going back to the disparities here, clinical research and trials, there's also a massive disparity there. I'm going to just read off some information you guys sent us. Despite their increased risk, Black Americans are underrepresented in clinical trials, making up 5% or less of all trial participants. participants. So obviously we would like to see that number go up. How can we see that number go up? And what are you looking to see in the future for clinical trials?
Yeah, with this, it comes back to the health system, right, and the inequities. So if providers were more willing to provide those resources like trials in their community, then individuals will have access to those trials, right? So we need providers to step it up, share the resources. Don't be fearful that you might insult your patient or your client or the caregivers. Provide the resource, provide the additional support. I always share with individuals in the community, has your provider done a knowledge is a test.
A memory screen.
Memory screen, yes. A cognitive test that can be done as simple as maybe asking 2 or 3 questions during the appointment, instead of having invasive screenings like MRIs and PET scans or spinal testing or blood testing, which again brings us back to the mistrust in the medical industry. So we want individuals to be able to understand that there's options, and you have the choice to make that option. Individuals, yes, they might have early diagnosis or a late diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia, but that still doesn't mean that providers should not honor the choice to choose for treatment or for testing to be done.
Definitely.
Those memory screens that Jessica mentioned, that should be part of your annual physical that you get. Sure. That is a Medicare benefit. And a lot of physicians, practices are busy. Yeah. We know that sometimes it takes time to get into your appointment. Excuse me. But that should be something that is done. And I think, unfortunately, sometimes providers gloss over it because they've got other bigger fish to fry, right? But if that's something that you're concerned about, I would say absolutely ask your doctor to do that, to take some time and ask for recommendations. Perhaps they'd be willing to give you a referral to a neurologist for more comprehensive testing to kind of get to the bottom of it. Because again, it can be other things. Yep. So thinking like, oh no, this is going to be the worst. This is the worst news. I don't want to know. That's not helpful because it's maybe something that is very easily treatable.
All right, let's one more time. If we could throw up the graphic for the event, if you guys could give us the logistics one more time, so people can, and if they need to bring anything or be mindful of anything before the event.
We highly encourage early registration.
Good
so
idea.
There's pre-registration. So we do have the option of joining on Zoom or in person. Great. So as you can see on the flyer, there is a link there, but there is also a phone number. So you can call in to register, or you can register through the link provided. And if you have any questions, you can call that 24/7 helpline that can help with addressing some of those questions. And there will be food served.
Oh, nice.
So first come, first serve. So get there at noon. We start the conference promptly at 12:30 with some of our guest speakers and keynote speakers, which will be Kelly Woodford from Erie County Office of Health Equity, Ian Barrett from Kaleida Health, and Amini James from Erie County Social Services. So they'll be our keynote speakers, and then we'll have 2 really fun, interactive activities going on too this year.
All right, very good. Saturday, February 28th, 12 to 3:30. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you tomorrow.